welcome to the podcast show. It's been a while. I'm Mary Pat Smithson.
And I am Whitney Walker.
Praise God. I was worried you were going to say something other than your name. I felt it. You thought about it, though.
That would be too predictable for this first episode.
It's season 3, episode
1.
Episode 1.
Here we are. We're back from the grave.
Honestly, though.
It's been a grave.
Oh, it's been a grave.
Been a bit of a grave. I mean, it's all right to say it.
That's a lot.
We haven't posted anything on Instagram for
been a grave.
Literally 7 months. People are like, are you
still doing stuff?
Out there in the world? Yep, we are.
Oh.
Today.
Here, give me your hand. Thank you, Jesus. This is so good. Whatever, man. I'm thankful. I'm slightly freaking out. I'm just like, my heart's beating really fast. Like, my head is hot. I'm wearing a cap. You're wearing a jacket. How do you do that? I can't do that.
You have slides on, though.
I do. Slides with socks.
That is something that has notably happened in the last couple of years.
Thank you, Lord.
I started wearing slides with socks, and then now Mary Pat wears slides with socks.
I mean,
usually she's way more trendy than me.
That was your signature trend move. She bought those like squishy plastic cushionaire style slides when they first came out. That was like a TikTok thing before it was like a TikTok thing. And then everybody at church started wearing them. And now I've finally given in, but mine have a Velcro back.
Yes, you have
to them.
You have to have your Enneagram 4 unique.
But also because I don't do well in slides without backs. I fall out of them. I go too fast and they slip out in front. You know, you can make this a 4 thing if you want. That's fine. I'm just saying.
It's hard to be an Enneagram 4.
I'm disgusted. Okay, moving on.
So mostly not very much has changed. Everything has changed, but not very much has changed.
Everything's the same. That's fine.
Well,
except the setting. Except where we are right now, the
setting. True. We're going to try to, really what has happened is we have very static filming days that we have to film, and wherever we are, that's where we're going to film. So today, probably a lot of times we'll be at home, but today we're not at home.
No, today we're in Castle Rock, Colorado on Dry Bones Ranch.
Dry Bones Ranch.
And I slept 10 hours last night. That's how much I needed it.
It passed.
That's how much I needed.
You always sleep like that here.
I do, though. That's why I need it.
Also, the place that she slept was basically a dark cave in the ground. Like, it's in a basement. So it's as if the sun...
Natural habitat.
Doesn't exist.
A hole in the ground.
Literally. A very nicely furnished hole in the ground.
Thank you, Jesus. Still. I'm a hobbit. It's fine. Okay. Yeah, so what are we talking about today?
Well,
I know.
This season,
I know.
We got lots of feedback from the first couple of seasons. Mm-hmm. And actually, when's the last time we released one of these? Like the beginning of 2021?
Yeah. So I honestly don't even remember.
Because we started recording them in 2020.
Yeah.
That was the first season. Mm-hmm. And the second season, I think, was 2021 when we went around and interviewed everybody.
Yep.
And it was all COVID protocols.
Yep. And we did the Poke the Bear moment.
Yep. Social distancing.
Meat and Potatoes was first season. Second season is Poke the Bear.
Yeah.
Third season's
probably going to be good coffee shops.
I know.
That's the thing that's going to keep
good coffee shops
around.
And like our favorite places that we've ever.
Yeah.
But it's going to be stories. Season 3
that's what I was getting to. Like we got like a lot of feedback in the time that we have not been podcasting, which is interesting because apparently you people actually enjoy this.
That's so nice.
Which is nifty. Like, hey, when are you going to do the
nifty in a while?
When are you going to do the podcast again? Okay, so here we are doing it. But then also we got like some people asking for more stories and like us talking about where we've been, some of our favorite places and all of that good stuff. And in a season where we are not traveling quite as much as we have previously been traveling, it'll be nice for us to walk down memory lane and get to talk to you all about places that we have been.
I also had a wild dream last night, though. And my friend Ben Abernathy was in the dream. I'm giving him a shout out. He's going to watch this, and this is going to be the trajectory of this season. I can feel it. But he spoke about the Revelation verse that the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. Mm-hmm. And we have so many stories about where Jesus just like crashed in.
Truth.
And it literally, like, I'm excited because I feel like it's going to propel people into them being able to gain some faith to be able to go out and like do the big things that God's asking him to do. So like the testimony of Jesus in our lives will produce some faith, some prophetic things in your life. And
so we'll talk about,
we're excited.
Basically silly stories, places that we like to eat, people that we know, and then also like some good Holy Spirit drenched stories from where we've been.
And the reason why I mentioned Ben is because he was telling me that in the dream.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was pretty amazing for today. So huzzah. Let's do this thing.
Benji.
You made it.
Made it to season 3, episode 1 of the podcast.
Let's go.
So Praise stupid. God. All right. Well, the first topic of conversation, the first locale that we're going to exposit is Thailand.
Oh,
kind of like starting with a heavy hitter, you know, like let's just go like the most foreign place that we've ever been.
Thank you, Jesus.
Also, our executive producer today is Michaela Bain.
She's hiding out in the background,
standing behind all of these cameras.
Shout out to Mikeiku.
Yes.
You're the best.
Shout out.
She's cracking up. We love her.
Michaela, who often tells us in our old age, you know, there's like 12 easier ways you can do what you're doing right now.
Such as
we're like,
how to do this podcast.
Cool.
So that'll be great. I can't wait to learn in my old decrepitness how to do this better.
I do feel about a decade older than the last time that we filmed these episodes.
I think that actually might be true.
Whew.
So Thailand.
Yes. We tried to get out to Thailand for years.
Wow.
It seemed like it was just like a work in progress. And then all of a sudden we tried at one point and like everything lined up perfectly. And we were busy like all the time out there. We just like, we had so much going on. I felt like every day we were playing somewhere or serving somewhere or doing something and meeting tons of people.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
But the way that we got connected with Thailand is from our friend Sin and Anne. We met them in college. We had classes with them, and then they graduated and went back to Thailand. And we had kind of always been in, relationship with them. And then also our friend, oh my gosh.
Ben?
No. Sin and Anne and Sai.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sai.
She is also from Thailand, but she came to the States to go to the high school that was attached with our college, Liberty University. And I met her through my sister as a friend, because my sister first went to Thailand and then came back, and she knew all these people. And then when those people actually came to Thailand, I was in classes with them at LU. So we were friends with them for at least 4 or 5 years before. Oh, longer than that. But yeah, and then they were like, come out.
And also Ben.
Oh, Ben
Collins.
Collins, yeah.
Different Ben. But I've known him since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And he's been a missionary in Thailand like most of his adult life. And
so a lot of really
we just had like a lot of connections and like never could connect all the dots until all of a sudden the dots were just like almost like without any effort, very connected.
So there's the intro.
Yeah.
We're talking about Thailand. That's kind of how we landed there. I think we're going to start off with the 3 places that we love to eat in Thailand and a coffee shop. But it might be flipped. It might be 3 coffee shops and a place we love to eat. That'll be, but like instead of it being meat and potatoes or poke the bear.
I mean, I think it should more like
stories.
Probably for Thailand, like that section is going to go more like things that we like to eat in Thailand because it's like such a different cultural experience.
Well, also I can't pronounce the names or remember the places. There's a few places I remember, but some of them I was just like, it was literally a side shack, that we rolled up into.
Yeah.
And Sin introduced us to it, and it was awesome. It was awesome. God, I love Thailand.
So like eating in Thailand it's like there are certainly like places that are more expensive, like in the realm of like you want to go out to dinner and like actually like order and there's a wait staff and like the American kind of style of like eating at a restaurant. But most of the working population of Thailand, it is just as cheap. Like for Americans, like we buy groceries like to be cheap, like we're like, oh, I'm going to eat in tonight. Like I'm going to eat my groceries. But like for Thai people, just a normative part of their culture is eating at a food cart, like on the side of the road. It's not like you have ones that are necessarily
restaurant
better than others.
Strip mall.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, I'm working here today. And like, oh, there's like a lady over there making noodles. Like, I'm going to go eat lunch because that's where I am. And there's no question about like if the quality is going to be good or bad or if it's going to taste okay. Like it's just all really good.
Well, the thing is like we got the expert side of the opinion.
We had like a personal travel assistant.
Well, Sin he's from Thailand. So he's Thai. So he knows all of these really great places, and he can walk up to a place and he'd be like, no, this one's okay or something like that. But like, if there was something that I knew about Thai people after being there is that they love their food and they really enjoy like certain things and know the places where to go.
They love to serve people, like not like in the way of like waiting tables, but like there are people who like that's their livelihood is just to go out and make lunch for people that are walking by.
And they love it.
And it's like...
And they're going to do the best job that they can. And I ate some of the best food in the world.
I also ate so much food in Thailand.
But we lost weight.
All I ate was rice and noodles every day of my life.
It was so beautiful.
Like 3 times a day.
So let me start off, before we continue, just to say this. Thailand is classified as a third world country based on their governmental system and the different things that are going on.
Which a lot of people don't actually know that.
Right. But there's a lot of things about Thailand that are not third world. Like I would say like air quality there, third world. Mm-hmm. But then there's other things where you're like, this is the biggest city I've ever been to in the entire world, and there's so much technology, and their hospitals are incredible, and people travel all over the world to get their medical help. And it's like, it's not a foreign country to me.
You also it's when you say third world though, like you have a thing that you think in your head.
Like, oh, like poor, if you've never been third world.
To a third world country, you might have like a stereotype of what you're thinking you're going to get into when you go to a third world country.
Right.
And it also devalues like,
come on,
what you expect out of those people and like the culture and all of that stuff. And so like listening to you talk about that makes me remember like hearing about stories of their doctors and like their medical system and like how people will travel from the States to go out there to get
healed in Thailand.
Like very specific surgeries because it's cheaper.
Yes.
And almost like in a lot of ways can be like a more honoring system to be a part of.
For sure.
Which is like, you wouldn't think like I'm going to a third world country to get my LASIK eye surgery.
But
you can.
And
it would be great.
I would 100% recommend it. I think like I just would. I think that something that we have learned over the past decade of doing stuff is that God has been able to take off the scales as far as like what value looks like on people, culture, demographics.
Wait, we got to pause this though.
What?
This is like
I'm right in the middle. I know,
but we got to
monologue. You can't just stop me in a monologue.
I can stop you because it's
I'm sad.
It's a great place to pick back up.
I feel sad that you interrupted me doing that. We're going to talk about that too. Connection codes. We're totally going to talk about that. Go ahead. I go ahead.
You know what I'm going to say. We got to get through the food.
I'm sorry. I'm so excited, and then we'll go back to that.
You
fine.
Want to give the backstory, but the backstory is the.
I'm just so stoked. I just love Thailand, and I don't want it to seem like when I say shack on the side of the road that I'm going, hey, third world, let's emphasize your devalue system.
I understand.
I'm trying to redeem and apologize in saying that because my favorite food places in the whole world is a garage in California where I got tacos.
A gas station in Kansas City.
A gas station in Kansas City and Thailand.
And shacks.
And shacks on the side of the road in Thailand. So,
yes, so you're not meaning any derogatory.
No, but I have to apologize for that because I don't ever want to seem that way.
Correct.
Talk about the food things.
All right. So the best food that we ate in Thailand.
Come on.
I'm going to say, like, I can think of 3 experiences.
I'm ready.
And I don't know if you might have things that you remember.
Mine might be different.
I don't remember.
Just go.
But one thing that I know for sure that we agree on is the roti, which is, let me tell you, 25 cents, okay, for the best dessert that you'll ever eat in your life. It's like, if you think of like naan bread and how they make naan bread like in the, the kiln thing, right. But it's very, very thin.
It's an egg pancake.
It's delicious.
It's incredible.
It's very thin and a little bit crispy and flaky, and they layer it with like different things, but the standard one is just sweetened condensed milk. The staple, beautiful ingredient of Thailand is sweetened condensed milk. And it's not like the yucky, like soupy, like pet milk stuff that you get at the grocery store.
Right. It's luscious and it doesn't taste synthetic. It is so yummy.
And it's just literally like this little pancake thing, and they put sweetened condensed milk in it, and they roll it up, and they stick it in a piece of paper and hand it to you, and it's 25 cents. Like,
it's
how can it be bad?
It's travel worthy.
Yep.
It's affordable.
And it's everywhere.
Delicious.
It's like the Mickey Mouse ears carts in Disney World.
Stop.
It's just like literally every time you turn a like city block, it's like, oh, there's a roti cart. Let's get some more.
You guys. It's so good. And it brings me such joy to be like, oh, roti stand, pull over.
Yes. The other thing that I really loved about eating in Thailand was that they serve like normal food for breakfast.
Actually, I think that really has changed my definition of breakfast. And it's changed my whole culinary like experience within my own kitchen.
Truth.
Yeah.
Let me hear. I'll just make a whole slew of you mad at me right out the gate. I don't like American breakfast. I don't want to go to a diner with you and get a bunch of scrambled eggs and bacon and greasy sausage and like a biscuit and like,
go ahead.
I don't want all of that stuff. I want pancakes in the middle of the night. I want waffles as a dessert.
Oh.
I don't want that at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
What I want at 8 o'clock in the morning is my pizza from last night. Or like, I have no desire to eat the sweet, sticky, syrupy, whatever.
Right. What is
Thai people
Yeah.
serve all of the things that they serve for lunch and dinner for breakfast, but also with fruit.
Yeah.
What a novel idea, because also the fruit is amazing.
Yeah.
So like the place that we stayed at was like this little bed and breakfast like hotel, very beautiful, like
what is it called again? Cloud
9.
Cloud 9, y'all. Hotel shout out. Cloud 9.
It was amazing.
Chiang Mai, Thailand.
There's like koi ponds like right outside your room.
It's amazing.
And they prepare breakfast every day. So they've got the coffee, they got of course like tea, and there would be like sometimes there was soup, like tom kha soup.
Yes.
Sometimes there was like pad thai.
They would always have toast with mango jelly, passion fruit jelly, and then they would have hard-boiled eggs because everyone can get on board with those and they can just sit outside.
Yep.
Because I don't know if you know this, but Thailand, it's hot.
It's
so
freaking hot.
They're not putting out yogurt for everyone to just like indulge in.
Cereal and milk.
Not a lot of cheese, not a lot of dairy. Nope. It's just not practical within tropical climate, but also God's not doing that.
And they would have
the world was like,
big banana leaves
Yeah.
with sticky rice inside of them.
Yeah.
And you can have mango sticky rice and some noodles,
but
and
they
an
serve
egg
the
and a
pad
piece
thai
of toast.
every
I would
morning.
eat like a whole entire plate. You guys,
she
my
hates
whole
breakfast.
life,
She ignores
I was
breakfast.
Like, oh, my stomach just like I can't eat like right when I wake up in the morning. I just like my stomach. That makes no sense because my stomach is very strong. Like I almost never throw up. I don't have like any kind of.
You don't do dairy well.
I don't have a weak stomach. So like. Not enjoying breakfast because my stomach hurts is not a thing.
No,
it's
but
just,
a lot of heavy stuff.
I don't want syrup.
No, you don't do a lot of sugar. You don't do a lot of dairy, and you don't do a lot of like grease.
Yes.
So Thailand,
pad thai, I can eat 3 times a day, and I would be happy.
And
as a
ever
clam.
since that trip, we will have like Thai food, and then the next morning, slap a fried egg on that leftover pad thai, and we're
God
like
is
snapped back at cloud nine.
good.
Isn't that so funny? Cloud nine. It's called cloud nine.
It is cloud
That's
nine.
pathetic.
And then the
Boom.
third food experience that I would say that was amazing. There was one in Chiang Mai and there was also one in Bangkok, which is like the community market
Yeah.
where like there's just people, it's like the same as like a farmer's market type thing, except for there's just like back to back booths of people that have prepared
Their
all
specialty
kinds of
type of
whatever
food.
that
Yeah.
they make, and it's really cheap, so you can get just like a big smattering of things. And this one place, I know you didn't love it as much as me,
I'm ready.
but the sushi spot, you could buy sushi by the piece.
No, but it's
by the piece.
the only reason why
Michaela.
I didn't like it as much is because I was wanting something else, but it's beautiful. Like
You
think
don't
of
have
like
to
a
get
pastry
8
shop
pieces.
of like
Yes.
sushi, like just lines and rows of sushi, and you're like, I want that one and that one and that one and that one, and then they give you a little thing, and then you go and you sit down and eat it. Can I talk about my favorite
Yes,
places?
please do. I've probably forgotten about some of the things.
You have. So those are your 3 things. I want to get to why I love Thailand as much beyond the food, but my favorite things, number 1 favorite thing, top 5 favorite things I've ever eaten in my entire life, khao soi.
I did forget about
You did.
that.
It's a soup that they serve. It's known for its popularity in Chiang Mai.
So it's spelled KAO
KAO
space
Khao
SOI.
soy.
Yeah.
Khao soy. And it is a red curry coconut broth with egg noodles, big pieces of chicken inside with crispy egg noodles on top, shallot, lime, cilantro, and garlic.
It's amazing.
I love soup. Some people are like, it's got to be cold outside. It was 95 freaking degrees.
so
and I
hot.
was like,
And we were eating
serve
soup.
it again. I was like, I'm sweating. I have never felt more white than eating this soup in the middle of like tropical temperatures. And I was like, just take it away. Like, let me be Thai, please. This is fantastic. And it's sour, it's sweet at times, it's salty and punchy. There's like,
Is there like a vinegar,
fish
like
thing.
a vinegar thing in
yes.
it that makes it the sour kind of?
well, they do fish sauce.
Yeah.
And it's everything you ever want in one thing, plus the egg noodles, they have a chew to it. I've got the chicken for protein, and I've got the crispy noodles on top, and shallots, this raw punch in your face. And I'm just like, I'm like scouring the globe going, where else can you ever get something like
amazing.
this? And we had it like a couple times. There was another thing that I really loved. I just loved eating, period, there. I'm not really picky. I will try something once. There's only something that I really didn't like, and it was in the Dominican Republic, and it was not my favorite thing. And we were in the middle of a village, in the middle of some nowhere. No one knows where this place is. And they gave us something to eat, and I went, oh, God, give me strength. But like everything in Thailand, whole pieces of fish, fried pork, soups, other soups. Anytime somebody served a soup, I was on top of it. It just was like,
their broth there is next level.
Oh my gosh.
Like everything.
Everything. That roti's on my list.
Yep.
Fabulous, fantastic. And I think like,
Last one.
I don't know. I roti and khao soi really takes both of it for me. You were like in love all the time with the pad thai. I think it was probably that place that we went with Sin and Anne, and we had like a whole fish, and it was crispy. It was fried in oil, and it came to the table whole. And I just kept eating that. And there was also like a pork dish that was there that was crispy too.
That place was good.
And I just kept eating. And I think one of the best compliments I have received continually as we go to these different places and we eat with different people from different countries is they're like, you guys don't eat like Americans eat when they come here. Hey, and it makes me so happy because it's like, why would I want to miss out on this? Like, this is so beautiful and your people are so vibrant and I can taste it in your food. It's like, if you want to know who people are in a different country, eat their food.
We did get McDonald's.
We did?
At the airport or something? I can't remember.
It was really cute. There was a Ronald
there was a Ronald McDonald that was bowing.
Come.
So funny.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, those are all great things.
One coffee shop.
My one coffee shop there. I mean, honestly, I could do a whole podcast about the coffee scene in Thailand.
I have never.
Outstanding.
I am more snobby than she is because I don't drink coffee all the time. I don't drink it every day. I drink it maybe like once every 3 weeks. And I'm going to go to my favorite spot and I'm going to get the thing, blah, blah, blah. Literally, Thailand, I was like, every day. I was like, I need something every day.
Yes. It's just like a whole nother ball of wax when you have the coffee like being grown on a mountain that you can see, and you know that it was like carted down the mountain like last week and roasted
or
like yesterday, and they're making coffee out of it today. It's
or
like,
you're getting it from somewhere that's not on the other side of the globe, but the same side of the globe that it is on.
Yeah.
Because Thailand is in the middle of so many different places and it's closer.
Sure. Like, so even if it's not roast, like
it's
grown right in Thailand, it's like,
I
very
mean, you're
close by,
closer
sure.
in general.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Guys,
the third wave coffee though is like another one of those things that you're like, this is not what I thought of when I thought of a third world country. It's like,
you guys,
they
kick
America's coffee shops are
pume. Like the milks that they serve stuff with, you drank regular milk the whole time.
Yes, I did.
And you never got sick.
Nope.
Tell me about that one. How does that work?
Actually, yesterday I got a cappuccino from Starbucks on the plane, and they accidentally didn't put my milk preference in it. They used I noticed on the side of the cup because I thought it tasted bad. Actually, I was like, this is pretty bad cappuccino, but like it's Starbucks, so that happens every other time. And I looked on the side of the cup, was like, oh, there's not oat milk in this. That's why it tastes bad to me because it's regular milk. And it gave me like an immediate headache. Like just like
it was so interesting, like drinking at least a cup and a half of milk with this magic espresso from all these different places at the hands of these artists.
Yes.
These people, and they're winning world champion
they know what they're doing
makers.
For sure. Also, their matcha. They had matcha
gosh.
everywhere, and it was so delicious. Anybody that really knows me knows how much I have deep affection for matcha.
You guys, unreal. But like, you know when people are like, oh, I'm getting like notes of like fruit or this, that.
Notes.
Notes. Inside joke. That's for Dan McCullers. You don't really think about it, but it's like all the things that they're serving over there with the coffee, they're putting passion fruit and stuff. They're putting guava. They're putting mango together. And you're like, these are really interesting flavor combos, except they grow on the same hillside. They're actually from the same region.
Yep.
I was blown away. We were blown away. And the one shop
that we went to, if you go to Thailand ever, you'll probably find yourself in Bangkok for some amount of time.
Yes. Or at least hopefully. It's wonderful.
There is a spot called Factory Coffee. Oh, that's like thinking about it. That was my first semester of going back to school, and I would go there every morning and do like 5 hours of homework and drink the best coffee literally in the world. And it's called Factory Coffee, and they are world coffee champs, I think, like 3 times.
You guys.
Or something. The drinks that they have come up with are like, I mean, it's just like the perfect amount of like all of the flavors and like very deep, like kind of like the combination of tea and coffee.
Yes.
Like it's really hard to find any places in America that do that in a way that like actually makes sense and is not like you can get a dirty chai or something like that and it's fine. But like having like actual tea, like black tea flavors, matcha, hojicha, whatever, and then also combining it with espresso and making like a kind of like a cocktail drink.
Yes, that's what it was.
Like, wow, this is the most perfect thing I've ever put in my mouth.
It was cocktail and craft also it's like style
$3.
But the thing is, in Thailand, coffee is actually like one of the most expensive things.
Well, it's like one of their biggest exports too. So it's like it's very valuable to them. They have a high value for it.
So like when we go in and I'm talking about having the most amazing latte I've ever had in my entire life for $3.50, that is $7-8.
Yeah, that's
for these people.
A lot for that.
And but like they're so proud of what they do. then they're
Great.
so
It's like one of my favorite
kind.
experiences to like just go like talk to the people making coffee and like blow them up with how awesome I thought
Yes.
it was. And they would just stand there and like smile
Wow. Like, no, you don't understand. Like, this is, and they're just being like,
wow, okay. Crazy white girl.
it's so
Enjoy.
beautiful. Oh,
Yeah.
there you
So
go.
that's the food and the culture kind of like window into Thailand. You know, you can like learn a lot about a place based on the good food.
But I think that that's what this season's going to be cool about because, like, you know, like we put ourselves under the category of foodies, but I think that it's more like, oh, we like love people.
Yeah.
Because I can't, if we go to a restaurant and somebody's doing a good thing, I don't feel like my meal is completed until I say thank you.
Sure.
Or like, what's your name or what's going on? We went to a restaurant for New Year's Eve with friends of ours in Nashville, and our waitress, she was just doing such a beautiful job, and the food was incredible, and we just kept asking questions and different things. And she, come to find out, she had just moved there 2 weeks prior, her and her boyfriend, and they were working at these different restaurants, and we're like, oh, you got to like give us a piece of paper, a notebook. We got to write down all these
We
places
ended up
for
writing
you.
down like 30 different like restaurants and places to get coffee and yeah, like, and she was just like, oh, this is so helpful.
But then at the end of our meal, she gave us free dessert
Giddy
on
up.
top of the 2 other desserts that we ordered. So she's like, you guys got to round out the rest of the menu.
Yeah.
Here's the third. This one's my favorite.
That's kind of like, it's interesting though, like that is a good segue into the last chunk of this show because it's like a lot of our moments of like being able to see God in the places that we are, like start with just conversations that we have with people, you know, where we're not doing ministry. Like I'm not like at a coffee shop to like,
Yeah.
you know, stand on a soapbox and like preach the gospel to people. I mean, I could do that, I guess, but like that's not normally my vibe. So like that's like the thing that I feel like, you know, we want to like let people see like behind the curtain on is like we do all of these like ministry related things that are kind of more stereotypically what you would think of people who are in full-time ministry doing. But like the connecting point to that is really like none of that stuff makes any difference if you treat people like garbage who are serving you coffee.
Well, yeah, if
you don't really love like the people in the place that you're going to, because why are you ministering or doing any ministry to people in a church setting if you're not like wanting those people to be able to like connect to their community and their culture in the way that only they can.
And that actually happened when we were in line for Starbucks in Vegas. The guy who served us our coffee through the drive-through line, we were talking to him. He was so sweet and kind. Chris. Mm-hmm. And we were like, you got to come tonight to worship and different things. And he's like, well, maybe I will. He showed up later that night, walked in right when we were doing stuff, and we were praying for people to come. It was the end of the service, and we were praying about people within the greater Las Vegas area coming and that they would find the Lord and find revival. And he walked in right when that happened.
Yep.
And he was basically like, you were talking about me. And then
I forgot about that too.
And then we connected him with like the not the youth pastors, the young adult pastors.
He was kind of like a musician, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and he like needed some people that he wanted to like
hang out with,
play music with. Yeah.
I don't know if he's still there.
Sure.
But
that's the point.
That's an example. If you don't see the person in front of you, if you can't love the person in front of you,
you probably shouldn't be trying to love people from a platform.
Oh,
please don't. Please stop.
God.
Abort.
Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm like certainly guilty of
100%.
Not always like, it's not like I walk into every single restaurant and coffee shop and I'm like I am God's messenger to like share in the message of goodness to all mankind. Like I know that I actually am, but like I don't always do that effectively. But I think it's the more connectivity that you have between like whatever it is that you're doing to just like regular life, which is that's the point of this show really, is to be like, hey, we have been in full-time ministry for 12 years now. There are things that we do that are ministry related, that is like vocational, and that's like what we do, and that's like our job and our livelihood, certainly. But like, that's not the reason why we love Jesus and like do what we do. It's because it's a vocation. It's like that actually is more an outpouring of like regular life circumstances, and like it is like who we are and our connection to Jesus initially that like fuels the vocational ministry part, and that makes it applicable. Like all of these things are applicable to every person that loves God, because you're
alive and you're alive. You're like breathing and doing life
where you are in your context. Yeah, for a reason. Like you don't need to be called to ministry in order to do the work of Jesus. Like, and it's not compartmentalized.
Right. And I think that that's why Thailand was so interesting, because we had so many different opportunities to do what we do in really interesting situations. We sang at 2 weddings. They don't know us. We don't know them. They just
heard we were in town.
Sin set it up. We played at the hotel that we were staying at.
We did. We earned some free pizza that night
because they were doing they had a new brick oven pizza that they were serving to the community, and they asked us to do
we played for like 2 hours.
Yeah, we just kept playing music. Did that. Went to a prison.
Played at a prison. We played at the women's
refuge, right?
The refuge
Burmese refugee kind of art house.
Yep.
Which helps rehabilitate women that have been in really awful situations, and that who are from different countries like Laos and
there's a lot of refugees like from other countries,
a lot of tribal people,
more governmentally oppressed, that find their way into Thailand, and they live out in these very rustic villages and communities.
Yes, and sometimes Thai workers take advantage of them because they're from different countries.
Which we have no idea how that goes.
Oh, God. So, what else? Where else? Oh, we played at an orphanage.
Yeah, sure
played
did.
Out there.
That was so cool.
They're so cute. All those kids are so beautiful.
And then we played at house churches a couple times.
Yeah.
A couple different. And that's the interesting thing, too. I think a good connection point for that is like there is no vocational ministry in Thailand. Like that's not a thing. You can't make enough money off of doing ministry in Thailand to support your life and family. So Sin and like Pat, our other friend Pat, who's a pastor, they function as pastors in Thailand, but they're working other jobs like to make ends meet and to be able to do the thing that they do and to be able to support their job that they feel is like their calling, to be pastors and it's all house churches.
To love people and to preach the gospel.
Yep. And it's like really cool to see how they prioritize the thing that doesn't pay them the most. Like it's so like difficult to like separate yourself from prioritizing like where the bigger dollar sign is here, like in the States, because it is very expensive to be here. And like there's reasons for that. I'm not like dogging on, the way that it is. Just it needs to be that way. But like, like you are actually able to prioritize loving and serving Jesus and loving and serving your neighbor, even though it's not affording you any stability or financial freedom or like any of that stuff. Like they have to do that.
And Ben Collins the same way. Like he's teaching English. Him and his wife like hosting people at their house, like doing all of these different things continually. But the main thing that I got out of Thailand, which was super encouraging, is that it was all about relationships. Because within Thailand, there's an honor system. Within Eastern culture, if somebody's in a position of honor, you kind of separate them in that honor and kind of put them on a pedestal. Yeah. So there's not a lot of like questions that necessarily get asked, but just a lot of following.
Yep.
So like when people come from out of Thailand, like there's a lot of missionary companies, interesting version of how I put that. There's a lot of missions organizations that are in Thailand because it's an open country. So a lot of the surrounding nations that are around Thailand are a lot of closed nations where they're not allowed to preach the gospel. So they have a lot of missions organizations within Chiang Mai to be able to.
Chiang Mai is actually the mission
capital
of the world, I think.
Well, definitely Asia.
Definitely Asia, because it's very close borders to China and Laos and Vietnam.
And then you got Myanmar, like all these different places.
Yep.
And the thing is when you have this kind of honor system there, is that Sin actually said this. He's like, I don't really like being known as a pastor because I don't want people to treat me any differently.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have
an authentic connection
relationship.
With people. Yeah.
And something Ben also said, he's like, it has taken me so long to learn the language, but I have had to continually be in relationship with these people in order for them to trust me. Because you could say something, they go, okay, I'll believe in Jesus, and then they don't.
Yeah.
And it's not, they're honoring him. They're
like,
basically,
it's the same thing as like eating the food that you're served. Like,
yeah,
it's polite.
Right.
So like you're
so
gonna
I'll pray
polite.
the sinner's prayer, no problem. And people are like, yay, they got saved. And they're going, no, they didn't.
There's
actually.
no actual transformation happening.
So my takeaway from Thailand was that relationship is so important. And it was specifically, I think, exemplified within that house church setting when we had church on that Sunday morning. And church lasted from 10 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon, because it was church, it was reading the word and singing hymns
and small groups
and
discipleship and accountability.
And then it was lunch, and then it was
coffee.
This full community experience of there were different things that were going on in everybody's life, and they were talking about them and getting advice and prayer.
Yep.
And even the pastor himself and people being like, no, you can't do that. I would never like to have that kind of transparency here.
It was awesome.
There are some places, absolutely. There are definitely some places in churches and communities within the US that do that, but it is not the norm. It's not the culturally acceptable. It's kind of like, no, if you're in a position of success and power, you have people listen to you, and you get advice when you actually need help, not necessarily so that you can be better the whole time. I think that over the past couple of years being in our church, like our church actually does that pretty well, where they're like, look, if I'm messing up, or I can learn something before I mess up, like teach me something even before I get to a place where I need help. And that's been cool to kind of be in that environment and be like, oh, I can constantly be in an area of improvement, not to be the betterment of myself, but just so that the community can be better.
It's difficult though to like, even in the context of a healthy, like good church that like is trying very hard to like integrate a lot of those things. In our culture in America, things are very compartmentalized.
Sure.
Like it's easy to like keep your job over here and your family's over here and your friends are over here and church is here. And even in church, it's like, well, this is worship ministry and this is the youth group and this is our discipleship and this is, our small groups. And it's like it feels like disjointed, like in a lot of ways, because it's like
there's a lot
on
of
Wednesday nights we do this and on Sunday mornings we do this.
There's a lot of independency within American culture. And don't get me wrong, in Asian culture, there's a lot of compartmentalization with that honor system. And also like, we don't talk about that type of a deal. But within the church setting in Asia that I saw in Thailand, it was about a radical amount of community.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of being involved.
Yep.
And I think that really is what has tipped off prayer night for us.
Yeah.
We've got a community of like 10 to 15 people that show up once or twice a month at our house. And we like just go for it. We're like, what's going on in your life? Let's pray for it right now. Like we do food and community. But I like that piece of Thailand has really seeped into what we do here. Because I was just like,
but also
this is so powerful.
It's not, the mechanism of it is not for the purpose of expanding it as fast as possible.
Yeah.
It's about like the longevity of it.
Right.
And that's what like I think that Thai people do very well.
They do.
They are like the deep down nitty gritty kind of like they share in all things. Like that's kind of like the Acts Church model that I have seen. Not that growth is bad. And this is not about like this kind of culture is better than this. It's not that. It's just these are the good things that we saw in Thailand. And like in comparison to our experience here in the States with like a lot of different churches, you know, like it is difficult to, again, like when you have to have money to make everything function. Like our prayer night is like, there's nothing happening there except for relationship and like mildly decent pizza. Like it's nothing like
that's true
marketable. Like there's not an Instagram for it happening. Like it's just
there's no bonus benefit.
And like people sometimes are like, hey, I have a friend who's really struggling with this and he could use some prayer. Can he come tonight? Sure. Only comes one time. We just blast him with prayer for 45 minutes and send him on his way. Like I'm not trying to get him to stay.
Wow.
Like we're just having a community of people that like love and care for one another and we speak into each other's lives. And a lot of people have said it's kind of like group therapy. Which, like, there's, like, a stigma with that because it's, like, oh, it's, like, sort of scary because it's so deep and, like, personal. But it's because it's so countercultural for us to be that way in a group setting. I can sit here and talk to you about all of
Let's go to coffee and have our one-on-one.
Yeah, but like,
do
as soon
that
as I invite
with 10 people.
A group of people, it's kind of like,
And to me, that is, and I would say that's not even the cultural norm within, like, Thailand in general.
No.
But it is within a church setting in Thailand. And it rocked my world.
Yeah.
It changed everything.
And it was multiple times we had group
different
gatherings
places
that we played like music and we're serving them in the way that we can serve them, but they were serving us just by being themselves. And there was always food and they were always working together and always talking about like not just, like sports and the weather. Like it was like they were doing life together and like they would see each other in mass. Yeah. Like 20 or 30 people at a time at somebody's house, out in somebody's yard, at a wedding, wherever, like multiple times a week. It wasn't like I see you on Sunday. And then
that
we
was
go
another
home.
thing. It was like, oh wait, they're seeing the same group of people every other day and their kids are with them.
They're
and
like all brothers and sisters and Yeah.
Because within their own families, they don't have that.
And they base their life around it.
They base their life around
their
it.
Choices and like their existence around their community.
It just didn't seem like, oh, I'm getting too much of these people. Like, and I didn't feel like the tug of, oh, this is like a codependent thing or like people are doing this and like it's culty or weird. It's like, this
they
is
just
normal.
like actually care about each other.
They actually care.
Yeah.
That was a big thing that I took away from Thailand.
Yep, for sure. I mean, we could tell you lots of stories about.
Oh, we could tell you about the
being
elephant
in rivers
that we met.
With snakes that are like 8 feet long.
Right, that one. Meeting an elephant named Charlotte with her
Koa.
Their handler, Kola.
You're right, Kola.
And he was so sweet, and he was so generous with his time. Like we could talk about sitting in Sin and Anne's living room and making shrimp tacos with them and hanging out with their son Poom and their cat August. Like
August the cat.
There's so many different things, but like Thailand, one of the things that they're known for is they're called the land of smiles. Mm-hmm. And I promise you this, I cannot think about Thailand without smiling at all. Even visiting temples and walking around and driving to the red light district and all these different things. The light district, by the way, just looks like Vegas. So
it looks like any big city in America. So anything you've heard about Thailand being like so full of sin and debauchery.
And that was actually the place where we saw the most white people.
There was a bunch of white people
I was just like, wait, what are you people all doing here?
Dang.
Yeah. I mean, or, sitting on the back of Sin's moped and driving next to rice paddies and the sun is shining and we're going to pick up cookies and talk to his friend for 2 seconds and then come back to the house. Mm-hmm. Like story after story after story. And we spent like 2 weeks there.
Mm-hmm. The snakes are real, though. We'll end it here.
Wildlife, it's real there.
It is like you're in a big city, but then like 10 seconds later, you are in the actual
you're
jungle.
In jungle, baby.
And there are snakes that are longer than you are tall.
Oh, it's great.
And they're full of venom.
And they're beautiful. And it's wild. Thailand's sweet and sour and hot and cold and rainy and wild and gorgeous and
so far from here.
And so far away.
That plane flight was something else, man.
So far. How long was the first flight? 13 hours and then 7 hours the second one? I'd do it again, right? I'd go tomorrow. Right now. Somebody would be like, you going? I'd be like, I'm going right now.
Yeah.
I love you, Thailand. Thank you, Jesus, for Thailand. Bless Thailand, God. Oh, get Thailand, God. Get your people in Thailand. Get your glory in Thailand, God. Well, thanks, guys, for hanging out.
Episode 1, Matters Over Miles, Season 3.
Season 3, Episode 1. Yeah. I love doing this with you.
Thanks so much for joining us on the Matters Over Miles podcast, a resource of Water Within Ministries. If you would like to be a supporter of the show, head over to water-within.com/WWM and click the donate button at the bottom of the page. All donations are tax deductible and greatly appreciated. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.